Day in the history of Australian football when the Sydney Swans from the eastern seaboard of the country are on the west coast to take on the Eagles. We welcome you to Subiaco Oval in Perth. A very good afternoon, and it is a fine afternoon in Perth, although a blustery one at that, which might just help the home team on this ground with its wind tunnels and associated local knowledge. Well, perhaps the earliest indication as to the acceptance or otherwise of the decentralised VFL might come from the television ratings this afternoon, because it's Sydney versus Perth. I hope there are many thousands of you around Victoria watching, and I hope you really enjoy it. One man who's going to enjoy it is Doug Hayward, who's sitting beside me. Looks like a great match.
It looks beautiful, Tim, and of course the interest here is unbelievable, isn't it? As you crowd your way into the ground, there'll be a huge crowd at the ground here, as distinct from the crowds that weren't there apparently in Victoria yesterday.
Well, the Eagles very good against Essendon, it seems, although perhaps that form has to be evaluated in light of the Bombers' loss against Richmond yesterday.
I think so, and the superb form of the Sydney Swans in the last two matches, I think, makes me feel they should win it and win it pretty well. They had something like 189 hand passes last week, which is quite phenomenal. And in the hand passing brigade, 5 out of the top 10 hand passes in Australia come from the Sydney Swans. I think it's this slick play that will probably be the difference.
Well, the news from the rooms is that the Eagles will go in without Miles, McNish and Bartlett from the squad that was named, and the Swans will go in without Quirk, Neil Cordy and the unlucky Terry Thripp, who did so well last Sunday. Doug and I are now going to join Hayden Bunton in our central commentary position.
Well, here we are at Subiaco, and what a wonderful day for football. And what a crowd. There must be at least 40,000 people here. Perth people coming out in strength to watch this game between the Eagles and Sydney Swans. The first time we've had two sides here in the national competition that aren't from Victoria, from Melbourne. It's a great. The grounds are looking a lot better than it was. It was fairly hairy a couple of weeks ago, but a good downfall during the week. We had a lot of rain in Perth on Tuesday and Wednesday, and it's certainly dried out, and they have cut it a lot shorter than they had before. On the way in, I ran into half a dozen glamorous young ladies who are the Perth Warwick Kappa fan club, and they said they were going to get, and they were glamour, don't worry about that. So he's got his own fan club here in Perth already. They were going to go from one end to the other, and how they're going to get through the crowd to get to the other end at the end of the first quarter, I don't know.
Well, it looks as though the Swans are kicking from left to right as we look at it, Hayden, and that was the wind-assisted end. Last time we were here a fortnight ago for the Richmond match, the Eagles came home with it and had a big win. And looking at the wind socket, probably would be the wind-assisted end again?
I think probably in the sea breeze, the southwesterly will come in around about 1 o'clock and go towards the city end. So at the moment, the Eagles would be kicking with... no, the advantage wouldn't be to anyone yet, but it will be with the Sydney Swans on the way home in the last quarter.
Tim, an extraordinary thing. Robert Wiley's opened at centre-half forward at this stage. Against Dennis Carroll.
Yes, Robert Wiley's welcome back into this game. He hasn't been playing at all this year, apart from the one game with Perth.
Well, match of the round between the Sydney Swans and the West Coast Eagles. Two top umpires, Robinson, who bounced the ball, and Peter Cameron, and Gerard Healy for the Swans. Boots the visitors into attack, up to Kappa from behind, but in front O'Connell. Pack at ground level, and a ball up, says umpire Cameron, and then belatedly, because of a late infringement, decides to give a free kick the way of the West Coast Eagles.
It was against Wayne Henwood. He was number 9, who hurted himself over the top of O'Connell and hurt him a bit. O'Connell didn't enjoy it, and I don't blame him. He sends it out wide, well directed, no in front. It should have been taken by Neagle, picked up by Toohey. Toohey doesn't cover far. Healy once again to Williams.